Back for Impact fans, Throwback Edition. This is Trey Long, my co-host, J-Bone, say hello to the people.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year, everybody. We've done a Happy New Year on the other channels. This is the Happy New Year for this channel on the Throwback Show. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us a little late tonight for the Throwback Show. The Throwback Series, Jay, doing pretty well. I think we're gaining a little steam on this. We are here today to talk about NWA-TNA number 5. So if you haven't been keeping up, we decided to do the NWA-TNA Asylum Nashville stuff in order, watching it weekly as it aired. I haven't seen them since they first happened. Jay's never seen them. So this is a really interesting perspective we're doing where he's watching for the first time. I'm watching again after nearly 20 years. So Jay, how you liking this whole experiment? We're 5 episodes in. I think it's been fun.
I'm loving it. I'm serious. I mean, I'm watching it like a true old school fan where there's almost no internet, you know, because no one's talking about these unless they're talking about us doing this. When they say that there's a match coming up next week, I watched this the day of that we're doing this, so it's all fresh in my head. Nice. Like I just watched it, and I legit just watched these, you know.
That's awesome.
And yeah, man, it's a fun experience, and it's fun to look back and see, because a lot of these guys are still going. You know, guys like AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Low Key,
yeah.
And to see, where they come from, and it's a pleasant little reminder of the origin of a lot of these guys to a big mainstream audience,
yes.
Like the NWA-TNA. So yeah, this is a blast, and we are certainly getting our money's worth for the Impact Plus, and this is something and I just to go off topic just for a quick second, it's like. I had the WWE Network for years and thought about doing something like this, and I never did it. And I don't even have it anymore. So now I've got this, and I'm having a blast doing this. So hell yeah, man.
That's awesome.
I'm all in.
You know what's really cool? One observation I want to talk about just before we jump into the review was it hit me on this episode. You really forget the time period because a lot of these guys are still wrestling, right, Jay? I mean, we're watching Low Key, AJ Styles is on here, Ron the Truth Killings is on these shows. Scott Hall obviously not wrestling anymore, but he's still around. We see a lot of names that are still around. And the cool thing is, you look in that crowd, and there's none of this at all in the crowd. There's none of that going on. There's none of this going on while the show's happening.
No, there's a lot of really goofy sign holders, and I'll get into that later. I mean, there's some really off the wall ones out there. Some real what I like to refer to as cornballs. It's like.
But I'll tell you what, Jay. The thing was, what got me about this, what was amazing, was that everybody's face was pointed at the ring. We don't get that anymore. Everybody's doing this. For the
most part, yeah. I mean, if there's something, like there was a couple points in this episode where everybody's head is turned one way or everybody's head is turned the other way. That's just because there's some joker in the crowd getting kicked out by security.
Yeah, I'll take that over people buried in their phones. And like I said, working for AAW and stuff, it's something that I deal with a lot, that I have to, you see people not paying attention to the goddamn ring. You're like, gee, I've talked to my buddy referee Nate, who I've mentioned on this podcast, and he's a referee, he's in the ring, and he's like, dude, I have seen times where I'm in the ring for a match about to happen, and I look into the front row, and a guy who paid $60 for a ticket is on his phone streaming another wrestling show that's happening at that time while in the front row for another one.
I know, and it
blows my mind.
And it's and I've said that too on my podcast. You're doing a review of something, you're watching this, and this match is just insane. And there's a dude on the hard camera side, front row, just head buried in his lap. It's like,
it's incredible, man.
I'm like, you look like a freaking idiot. You should be on the edge of your seat, arms waving, eyes glued to the product.
I agree.
And you're like this. It's like, man,
it's
I don't get it.
But look, nevertheless, I'm really loving the crowd, the commentary. It's a different time. It really hits me when I watch it that this is nearly 20 years ago, man. I'm shocked when I put that into perspective for myself, but I'm loving it. I just want to answer a quick question. There's a question in the chat by Critical Sting. Hello, Eric DeHav. I'll say hello, everybody. Hello, Hakeem Fullerton, Paul Nelson, Critical Sting, Muir Neeson, guys. Thank you for all the wishes and Happy New Year's. Do the throwback reviews continue into the post-asylum era? We got a long way to go until we get there.
We got a couple of years. It's what 50 some episodes a year ish.
Yes. So
two. I'm not sure how long these go. What, 2 years straight? More?
About 2 years till they get to the impact zone. Now, listen, I'm not opposed to it. It's a matter of when we get to it. I'm totally fine with doing it. Yeah. We just have to get to it.
These are a lot of fun, and TNA has got a rich history. Yes. Some of it goofy, some of it absolutely knockdown, drag out, incredible. And we're seeing a little bit of both right now, know, and we're only 5 in. So I mean, it's almost impossible to say now, because of schedule, health, whatever. For now, we're having fun. I'm having a blast. As long as Trent's having a blast and I'm having a blast doing this, can go until whatever.
I think there'll be a point at some point where we will definitely try to do two a week. Maybe we'll get to a point where nothing else is going on. We'll do another one in a week. We'll say if it's a matter of Jay and I having time. I've said to him, there's been I think there was a time where we've had a Sunday where I'm like, Jay, well, you busy? Let's just jump on and do something. Or you've even asked. You've said, hey, anybody home? I want to check. I want to jump on and do a pod. It's a matter of if we got time, we'll do it for sure.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, I'm definitely down to do more than one a week as we get into it. We're only 5 in. I think once we build a nice little following for letting people know what we're doing with these.
Yeah.
I think maybe after 12 to maybe a dozen to maybe about 20, once we're about maybe 1 to 2 dozen in, we'll have an idea where we gauge. Right now, I like that the it's interesting. I want to put something out to the listeners. I want you guys to let me know. I've noticed these shows, they oddly pick up steam when the next episode comes out. I've been watching the numbers, Jay. I can't argue with the numbers. And obviously, it's a smaller channel that we put these on, and they go onto our iTunes feeds and everything under Total Nonstop Impact. But I've noticed that once the new episode comes out, the previous one spikes and listens. So I'm wondering if what's happening is people are hearing the review or hearing that we did it, and then going back and watching them on Impact Plus, and then coming and listening to the review.
That could be. You never know when. That's why I said before. You never know when people are going to catch this, become a fan of this, and find them and watch them. Yeah,
it's been cool. Yeah. It's been cool. Let's answer another question here. Paul Nelson is asking, did Dixie come in at this time? She came in, from what I understand. She comes in, I think, around. Somebody answered this last week. I can't remember. Was it episode 12? Around the 12.
Oh, spot? Gosh, is that early?
Keep in mind, this whole time, Dixie's company, she had a sports marketing firm, and that marketing firm was already working for TNA as their marketing firm. But when their initial investor pulled out, it was a medical company, pulled out, she came in and with Panda and then saved the day essentially. So, and
that's,
I think
okay, that's interesting.
And I believe it happens around 12. Don't quote me on that. I will definitely research that and confirm that by next week's show. I think it happened around 12. It happened early, I know that, but it was that's what happened. It was like they came in and she's like, "Let me talk to my family," and that's when they bought the controlling stake. Eric DeHoff, he watched episode number 97 this morning, and he's been. We are on 5, and he's on episode 97. Listen, I'm glad we could spike the numbers for the NWA-TNA stuff.
Right?
Thank you, Eric.
Somebody's awesome. Watching them.
I'm glad he's enjoying them. That's really cool. But let's jump in, Jay. This was a action-packed episode. We're still at the auditorium in Nashville. We're not. I think they go to the asylum. After one more episode, after 6, they go to the asylum.
Yeah.
And then they're at the asylum for almost about 2 years. And they leave, and I believe the debut on Spike was October, or not Spike, but Spike was October of 2004 in the Impact Zone, I want to say. Around that. No. I'm sorry, take that. Fox Sports 1.
Yeah, that's Fox.
My bad.
Yeah. They were there for what, a year or something?
Yeah, and that was 2004. So
and that was when I really started to become a fan. And it was right before that, I think, that they did the it was like a 1 cent pay-per-view, and they did like a best of.
Yeah.
And it was just insane.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But I definitely want to, Dixie got mentioned here, and a couple people in the comments are saying Dixie's the unsung hero of TNA, and she said we're going to go in the Hall of Fame. I want to mention one thing real quick. My grandmother passed away.
That's an interesting.
Yesterday. My grandma passed away, and Dixie Carter actually reached out and wished me condolences about my grandmother passing away. And that's an interesting twist, but I do want to thank Dixie. I've been Facebook friends with her for a bit since the TNA days. Obviously casually. Met her in person a few times, but it was nice for Dixie to reach out, and that's something that you wouldn't expect. But I was very grateful. Dixie Carter actually reached out. Falaba, Killer Cross. A lot of people said, Myron Reed from MLW, Hakeem, Rohit Raju reached out. So a lot of guys from the Impact roster were very. I appreciate that from everybody. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah. Not to down the thing, but just mentioning Dixie made me remember she reached out yesterday. But J-Bone, episode 5, what a wild show this was, huh? Because you messaged me earlier about this.
This was absolutely batshit bonkers, dude. I absolutely loved this.
It had so much energy that I was like, what in the, like, you don't see shows like this anymore. There were so many segments and so much. Thank you, Mir, for the condolences. There was so many segments going on. Paul, thank you as well. I could not believe all the stuff happening. I was like, what? Like my notes. I took notes on my phone. I was like, wow, look at all these notes. I had to keep notes.
I was jotting a bunch of. I got like a page and a half here, dude.
It's incredible how much was happening. I came forward and thank you very much. But unreal. I had to put so many notes down while watching. I watched it at work, on the way to work, during my lunch break, and on the way home, and when I got home. So I finished it all today. It was unbelievable how much I had to take note of. But I remember, Jay, at the time, thinking back, and I was like, Jesus Christ, I watched this live. I remember this is the kind of shit that made me keep coming back every week, that we put our money in. We're like, we're going to pay for this. I'm hooked. I had to see what happened the following week. Episodic TV at its finest. You don't get that today.
And I feel the same way watching this. Like I said, I'm watching this brand new as a fan, and I know we're reviewing this every week. So I'm like, hell yeah, dude. These are crazy.
It's awesome. Let's kick it off here, Jay. Let's kick it off. It opens with Goldilocks chasing Ken Shamrock down in a park. It's like Shamrock's out for a walk to clear his head, and he's pissed, and she wants a word on all the things going on, and he calls her a bitch and says to leave him alone. So she scares her off. I gotta say, one thing I gotta say, Goldilocks took a lot of abuse in the TNA days.
This episode in particular.
Yes.
Oh my God. How she stuck around after this? I mean,
she got shit on.
Bad and like abused.
Oh.
But the puppet segment was funny, but it was nasty.
It was nasty. It was real nasty.
And we'll get to that, but yeah, over in every single segment, everybody just completely shit on her. And I was like, oh my God, this poor girl.
She's a real tough chick. She's got a podcast. Everybody's interested in Gold. If anybody's watching along, if anyone's interested in Goldilocks now, she's still around, still making music. She's got her own podcast called Goldie's Closet. It's a part of the Russo brand network, and it's one of the free ones on the feed. So if you want to just check out Goldilocks, she's still around and she's still a tough chick. But she took abuse on this one. We cut from that, Jay, to hauling Jeff Jarrett in the back and just brawling, just going at it. And
these two just can't get along.
I mean, keep in mind that these two they worked together, right? They have history. They worked together in the WWF and WCW and WCW. That's the thing we don't. They had 2 companies worth of feuds prior to this, so they're very familiar. Their chemistry is great because of that. I love that they have good chemistry, right? I mean, you can see that right away. What do you think? I mean, you could see it right away, Jay. Like these two just they know how to set things up for later on.
Oh yeah, and it's been a slow burn over the course of these episodes.
Yes,
where all of a sudden there's a little something going on, and all of a sudden, boom, it'll blow up, and Scott Hall gets attacked. Or like was it last week or 2 weeks ago? He left him like dumped on the stage.
Oh, he knocked him over.
On a stretcher. I was like, oh my god, And this episode is no different, man. It starts out crazy and ends even crazier between these two. So yeah,
it was a great brawl. I think they really went at it. Security starts breaking it up, and Jeff Jarrett gets thrown out by Bill Barron's, the VP of the NWA at the time, and you overhear him telling Jarrett, "You have forfeited your match tonight. You forfeited. Do not come back." So you got your setup on the fact that he's not going to have his match. So you're Jarrett's getting screwed again, and that's something that it's that he likes to play up as we go on. You keep screwing me. You keep screwing me.
So you hate him, but you almost feel bad for
him. They've put a little sympathy on. They've put a little sympathy on the heel, which is weird, but at the same time, it makes sense, right? I mean, it wasn't for no reason. Like he brought it on himself, but at the same time, like you got his stuff taken away.
For the fans that love to hate him, they still want to see him, and it's like, we're not going to get that. We're not going to get that title shot now.
Yeah, and but anyway, they brawled like crazy in the back, and they set it all up, so he's getting screwed. Hakeem Fullerton over here also mentioned something, and Millard Harris, thank you very much for your condolences too. The stuff with Goldilocks would never happen today. He's damn right. You could never, ever, ever in today's day and age get away with this shit. People would have they'd have a heart attack with the cage dancers.
Oh God, yeah.
I don't know. As Paul Nelson, as far as bringing her back, I think she's not interested in being a regular anymore. She's busy with her music. I would love for her to be a part of like a special appearance or that throwback show during Mania weekend. I would like to. It'd be nice to have her back for just a little bit, like one segment. I'm sure she'd do it.
They should have her interviewing people like on a pre-show, or if if they're doing the TNA special.
Yeah.
Is it supposed to? I mean, I think people are assuming it's going to be a Twitch special.
It might be a Twitch, or I'm thinking maybe a Fight TV. That's something to make some money off of. If they're smart, they did charge $9.99.
Yeah,
I mean, like charge the $10.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, that is a good idea. But they should have some kind of like thing where they got a couple backstage, just quick interviews, and have her a part of it. Yeah,
it'd be real cool
for nostalgia. Absolutely.
Yeah,
maybe she'll come on here.
Yeah, man. Look, I'm sure we could. I'm sure we could ask Goldilocks. She's really cool, man. I listen to her show. She's really cool. New Church comes out. James Mitchell comes out and says that since Jarrett forfeited his title shot, that there's an open challenge, and they're going to take on whoever. So a little interesting that they're essentially the ones putting on they're extending the ones for the open challenge, but that Malice is putting his title shot up as a prize. I mean, it's like one of those things where like, well, you're the heel. Why are you putting up your title shot? You want your title shot. But the lights go out about 10 seconds, and in classic form, J-Bone, they come back up, and you have Sabu.
The place goes cuckoo.
Now, did you notice one thing? Half the place went cuckoo, half didn't at first. And it took the other half a second to realize it was him. It was like maybe like 30 seconds. They're like, oh shit, that's Sabu.
Yeah.
You notice that? Like there was a bunch of people who were quiet in it. I was like, what the hell? Then they're like, oh, wait a minute, that's Sabu. So it took a second to get it.
And I looked it up, and it's funny you say that because this is actually a couple years now after ECW disbanded.
A year. You're at a year.
So in a sense, people haven't seen him for between a year to 2 years. He's still been touring around doing stuff, but it hasn't been on a big TV basis.
Keep in mind, he was not even on ECW TV at that point. You know, he was not even at the end of ECW wasn't on ECW TV, so he was already Japan and doing other shit.
Right.
So he was elsewhere already. So yeah, it's been a while since you've seen Sabu at this point. But what a match, man! Like what a freaking match!
This was crazy, and when you're first watching this, you forget because everything's happened so chaotically.
Yeah.
You forget that there's a contract hanging up, and that this is a ladder match.
You kind of forget that part, that it's actually a ladder match. I kind of forgot for a little bit.
And then I was like, oh, wait, this is a ladder match. Sabu's in it. Oh, this is going to get good. So, and it's this one did not disappoint. Now, this is almost 20 years ago. This is back when Sabu's in significantly better shape than he was now. So he's just nuts.
Yeah. You froze up a little bit for a second. I'm glad you're back. But
sorry.
No worries. His nose gets split open at one point. He started bleeding profusely from the nose. I thought maybe he broke his nose. He's grabbing it like emphatically. He's like, oh my god! But he's still going. Sabu wins. Post match, he gets beat down. It was. I'm a little. I don't want to say confused is the right word here, right? But it's like it's kind of wacky to see like Malice getting all these shots. They're really pushing Malice heavy, and you forget like what an integral part of the early days of TNA Malice was. But they didn't do much after. I mean, he did these initial shots, but he didn't really go too far afterwards. But and he passed away like a year later, so it didn't get too much of a run. But crazy. Great point made in the chat here that Sabu wrestled in 2002 TNA and 2019 Impact Wrestling. Crazy to think, man. Yeah. That's wacky. These guys, it's in their blood. So it's pretty cool.
Same with Shamrock.
Shamrock too. Shamrock is another one. You're watching him in 2002 and you're watching him in 2020 now. We're going to see him at Hard to Kill. So that's crazy. Like that is so crazy to think that some of these guys are, and like other guys in the show, AJ's still going, Low Key still going. Jerry Lynn's an agent with AEW. I mean, shit, like some of these guys are still around, man. Yeah. So good for them. But so Sabu gets the contract. He's going to get the title shot against Ken Shamrock. I believe they said episode 6 the next week. So
next week that's Ken Shamrock versus Sabu, and then there's a couple other big ones coming up that we'll get into.
Yep. We go back to Jarrett getting kicked out, so it's more commotion on Jarrett. Still getting escorted off, so a little bit more commotion there. So like that's been going on the whole match is what we're seeing.
Security just has got to be exhausted 5 minutes in.
No kidding. Now this next segment is I feel the most rushed story, but in this episode, it took shape really well. I want to get your feedback on it. So we all know that AJ Styles is at this point the X Division champion and one half of the World Tag Team Champions with Jerry Lynn, and they imploded in a week. They already turned on each other in a week. With Jerry taking more of the heel approach. But so AJ's in the ring and he calls out Jerry Lynn, but Lynn comes out with his own microphone and cuts him off and cuts him down. Jay, did the fire from Jerry Lynn?
I love this. Yeah. And it's they kind of, I mean, the fans love AJ Styles for his athleticism and the stuff he's doing in the ring. It's just like bar none, one of the craziest, best things you'll see at this time. You know, but nowadays everybody does that kind of stuff, so it's not quite as insane and exciting. You know, this was one of a kind back then, like they called themselves.
Big time.
So he's the young buck. I'll use the term. I use that term a lot, but and he comes off as kind of the spoiled brat, and Jerry Lynn's kind of like the older brother, almost the father figure. Like, hey,
yeah.
And I look at it as AJ Styles is like, fine,
yeah,
whatever, you know.
It had that feel to it. You're right.
Yeah. And Jerry Lynn's like, look, just cool your jets, follow my lead. I mean, it's a little heelish. It's, you know, there's a little gray in there. There's a little heelish in both, but I look at AJ's a little more the bigger, snotty kid. Hey, look what I can do, you know.
they rushed a little too quick. I'm like, you had one match where AJ got cocky and stole the pin, and already you're like, yeah, son of a bitch. Like I felt they went into it really quick, but this promo really tied it together. I mean, to talk about Lynn being around for Styles being around for 3 years, Lynn for 14.
Yeah,
tells him he's too cocky, he needs to pay his dues, and then he turns around and Styles kicks him and leaves him laying. So again, I would have liked maybe 2-3 more weeks of showing me like where Styles getting cocky before Jerry gets pissed off at him. Like it's almost like Jerry had no patience at all, you know, like, hey, that one and done. But the promo work from Jerry I thought was great. I thought he did a great job. Some of Jerry's never been known for being a big talker. I think he did a great job.
He is, yeah.
Yeah. Did good. So constantly setting these two up for the inevitable showdown that's coming up. But Goldilocks in the back, she's with Jasmine St. Clair. They recap the Jasmine stripping and Ferrara tackling Bill Behrens, which is never going to get old. And Francine comes in.
That spear was priceless.
It was great. It was great. Francine comes in, attacks Jasmine, throws her into the shower, turns on the water, you know, just kind of leaves her laying. Again, another one we forget, Francine was a big part of the early handful of shows too. You know, it doesn't really get mentioned as part of her repertoire or resume, but, you know, because it's only like a few shows, but still, these are integral shows. These are the foundational shows of the company. I think that's, we shouldn't forget that. We should not forget that these people had these moments here to really like set up this early stuff.
Yeah.
I love Jasmine St. Clair though, for other reasons than wrestling, but which is for her books. But
she's a lovely entertainer.
She is. It's funny to say it because she's a fan of the band of Hemi. And like she's liked photos by Hemi, like I've talked to her on social media, so she's really cool. She's very supportive of my band, so I appreciate that. But it's funny to say like, hey, I knew of Jasmine for her other career, and then wrestling, and now it's like, oh, you just like the photo of my band? That's cool, thank you. But so they were setting that up for later on. Now we come out, K-Krush, Ron the Truth Killings, and you said he's Ron Killings now in WWE. Is that correct? Is this Ron Killings?
He's our truth.
Our truth. Okay.
Yeah.
Addresses the crowd. Great mic work again. And holy shit, Jay, did he look jacked? He like perfect body.
This came out of nowhere. Like he's been, you know, healing it up, and you know, and the commentary team gave it to him too, you know, kind of like responding per statements made. But the stuff that he said, I'd have to go back and do some research and see exactly if there was some kind of reason why he was let go from the WWE. I remember as a fan, I was shocked because I loved his look and his athleticism.
Yeah.
And then tagging with whoever it was, I guess it was Road Dogg at the time. I was thinking it was Brian Christopher, but similar, same but different, whatever.
Yep.
But then, so in his history on this platform, I completely missed it, and I'm loving this. So now this is taking me back almost 20 years to back when, oh yeah, he was on that show. They got rid of him.
Yeah.
And if you weren't watching TNA, you didn't see him for many years down the road.
Many years. And it's interesting to see the promo that he cut, and he puts it out there. He's like, I'm a star, look like a star, I smell like a star. And he's like, I wonder why I'm not the biggest one in the business. He's like the WWE versus, I think it says WWF or WWE, what the hell, whatever they're called. They let me go because they were afraid I was going to become too popular. I was really thinking he was going to go the race route because that's where it seemed like he was setting up. Like they don't want to see a black man become the man or something like that. Because, what got played up later on was that he is the first African-American world champion, and especially NWA champ when he wins the title, because
it's not too long after this. I knew he was one of the first ones.
Right.
Like on this platform.
On this, in the NWA, which is a big deal because I'm trying to think if it's happened since even, and I can't recall. I can't recall. I'm blanking if there's ever been another black NWA champion. And I'm totally blanking if there has been since him. But it was a big deal that he was the first one. And I thought that's what they were setting up, but he ends up kind of dropping the whole aspect here that he calls himself the truth. Like he's going to tell the truth about everything.
Yeah.
So that's where the truth killings is going to start making its way in.
There we go.
But and I'm sure the guys in the chat will let me know if there was another one after him. I cannot recall because that was I recall when that happened, it was a huge deal, J-Bone. It was a huge deal. And I've celebrated enough even that, even today, I think it should be celebrated more. That Ron Killings was. I mean, this was a time where, like, especially in the old days, there was no way it was going to be put on one of the black wrestlers back in the day. They were not setting it up. And there was not even that kind of favor into that community in the old NWA. So it was a big deal that he got put into that position. So that's what I said. I thought that was very interesting. So I'd like to see where. Here we go. So what are we saying here? We got a comment from Vonville. R-Truth was fired from the WWE because his tag partner Road Dogg's drug problem. Interesting. So guilty by association, I guess.
Yeah, and we've seen that. We've seen that plenty over the years too. We're going to get rid of so and so, and what are we going to do with this guy?
Yeah,
get rid of him too.
Let him go.
And if he was still pretty fresh in the system,
Yeah.
So sorry about your damn luck.
We go from that, Jay, to Norman Smiley comes out to take him on this challenge. Short match, entertaining match. He has the big wiggle, the slapping, the boot, the booty style. I'll have to call him K-Krush. So because just to keep it consistent that it was K-Krush. K-Krush, gets the sit out face buster, wins it. Afterwards, takes his belt off, starts whipping the shit out of Norman Smiley, choking him, hanging him over, doing like the noose and hanging him. So Norman's wife comes out and starts slapping K-Krush's hand, and he goes after her. He tries to hit her and freaks everybody out.
Unbelievable.
So that was, and the look on his face was like, I was like, oh, he can look like he's about to kill somebody.
He's a madman.
He was so intense, though, Jay. I mean, that kind of fire, I feel, is very lost. That guy looked, part of me thought at that point, I'm like, he was in so much in the zone that he could have taken out Norman's wife. At that moment, I think he could have.
Yeah, right. Just crazy.
But I can't get over it. The guy looks exactly the same. He does not age.
Yeah, I think he's got a couple crow's feet from being so happy in the WWE so many years, but
holy shit,
he's still in incredible shape. He's probably looks in better shape now, honestly. Just
suntan Superman.
He is.
What do you call it? Suntan? Does he still use it? The suntan Superman?
That gets floated around. I refer to him as that too. Yeah.
All right, here's your favorite segment, Jay. We're going to it. This is it.
Oh my God.
We're going to it.
It's buffet
Goldilocks
time.
on the back. Goldilocks on the back. And she is in the back for interviews. And she
I'm thinking of the
Puppet.
match. You're talking about the backstage.
Oh, not yet.
I'm sorry.
I'm talking about the backstage segment. This is one. I'm going to tell you a story about this afterwards. She finds Puppet, the psycho dwarf. He's like this inside of a garbage can and basically making the mess. Yeah, that noise. That's the noise come out, and he's just like, you hear like the it's like basically they're implying that he's jerking off in a garbage can. Okay. And Puppet demands some privacy because he's busy meditating. And he promises to destroy Meatball, the world's largest midget. Then he hits on Goldilocks with some of the most crude shit, J-Bone. Did you feel uncomfortable for Goldilocks in this, J-Bone?
The porridge. The porridge line. Do you want some porridge, little girl? I was like, oh
my God. I was like, how in the world does this stuff get by? But it's pay-per-view. Keep that in mind. It was pay-per-view.
He's gonna introduce her to his cobra or whatever he said. I was like, what?
And she says more like a garden snake or something.
Yeah.
I was like, what in the hell is going on? Down the line, Dusty Rhodes, when he comes into the company, talks about this segment on TV. And he's like, he goes, I watched the show. Y'all had a goddamn midget jerking off in a trash can. This is one of his promos. And he's like, I think this is when he became the authority figure. Okay. Y'all had a goddamn midget jerking off in a trash can. And he kept saying, he goes, we can do this, or we can have a midget jerking off in a trash can. It's like it became this thing. Oh my God. It was like so funny, but you're going to hear about this from Dusty Rhodes later on, but we'll get to that. But some of the guys are talking in the chat here. Ron Killings won the NWA belt from Shamrock. We're going to get to that. And the second one, I'm trying to remember. I think he beat Jarrett. We're going to get to it. And Critical Sting, black don't crack. It's true. It's very true. My black friends tell me this. Like Hakeem Fortin's in the chat confirming this. My friends tell me it don't crack. They look younger every year. It's crazy,
right?
But we go from that to the Goldilocks, disgusted, wanders away, stumbles across the Dups playing Spin the Bottle with their cousin Fluff Dup. So Bo Dup starts humping his cousin Fluff Dup while Stand Up compliments Goldilocks' lips. But he's like, I wasn't talking about the ones on your face. And she's like, oh my God. So Jay, this is your kind of humor, you crude bastard.
And he's sitting on because I'm like senior scumbag all of a sudden. Sure, okay.
Somebody has to be here. I mean, he's not here. Paul Nelson was saying we should have him on these we can't even pin him down for the regular weekly show. Kyle the scumbag. We're gonna get him on the throwback. Guys, think about it. So Jay, you are the scumbag in the meantime.
I'll take one for the team for that one.
Take one for the
team. But yeah, he's sitting there. I'm not talking about the lips on your face. And he's like,
my God.
He's just like convulsing, just nasty. And he's got the drip and the spit. No,
guys, can you imagine, guys? Look at if there was Twitter back then, how could you ever imagine this stuff would happen? What the outrage would be. They have rioted on Twitter for less than this.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine the Twitter police on this one? It could be incredible. But we'll find out. But yeah, so let's move on from that. So we go from that to back to the ring. Got a match. Flying Elvises, Jorge Estrada, Sonny Siaki, taking on Christopher Daniels and Elix Skipper, the future Triple X. before even Low-Key joined them here. This was X Division at its finest. Now, in this, they started playing up the Sonny Siaki breakaway, right? While Jorge's in the ring, Siaki would go to the commentary table and describe Estrada as a knucklehead, saying he's the real star. It's all about me, me, me. Basically made it about him. And
he's carrying
went to commentary.
Him or whatever.
Yep. And Jay, did he go to commentary once or twice, I think, right? Or was it
was
three
twice.
times?
The first time was even more funny because he was like, he just did something in the ring. I don't remember what, but he was blown up and he couldn't even spit out what he was trying to spit out. So the whole first time
it was awkward. Yeah.
Oh, it was very awkward. It was like, okay, did you forget why you went down there? What's going on here?
Like TNA was like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Like, what? And he's like started talking eventually, and I was like, yeah, what the? But you're right. I think it was blown up. This was great. That it came with the end. The ending came on with Siaki running in, hitting the money clip on Skipper and getting the pinfall victory. I believe he ends up calling that move later on the Siacalypse now, but it was a money clip because I think it was Reno's move. Or Reno used it. Reno called it roll the dice in WCW. I forgot who called the money clip, but I believe it becomes the Siacalypse now down the line.
And when he goes now it's referred to as the whatever they call it. It's Cody Rhodes uses the same.
Oh, really?
Spinning neck breaker, whatever they call it. Yeah,
basically, it's what it is. There was a comment that involved Dusty and Cody. You want to go click on that real quick? Since you mentioned Cody Rhodes. There was one by Hakeem here. Yep. He says, fun fact, TNA Impact is the only other promotion that had Dusty Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes at some point in their existence. Isn't that a cool fact? That's interesting. That is very cool. Yeah. Because that did not happen in WCW. That did not happen in AEW because of, deaths and timings and everything. But Impact was the only other place it happened. And because, that was it. That nothing else lines up. So that's a very interesting point.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, Akeem. I appreciate that. Very cool. Let's keep going here. So Siaki is going to be an integral part of this company as it happens. Again, it kills me that he had to shorten his career because of his brother's health ailments, and he donated his kidney. I think it's a very honorable thing.
Oh, incredibly honorable. But it's honorable, but very sad. Yeah.
Very sad, yeah. By the time he did that, he was already he had just left Impact. He had signed with the Deep South developmental for WWE. So he was early in their developmental. It's like what could have been, what could have been, because he was really, really awesome, but wasn't meant to be. But we at least got these memories.
But I also want to tag on here how good Daniels and Skipper look together, because this is the first time we see them in the ring together. Now, apparently, it's not the first time in the ring, period. Because I think they made it sound like they've tagged together in the Indies. Now, I've never seen that footage, but this was
me either.
Crazy good.
Great chemistry. Great chemistry. These two become a huge, huge part of the next couple of years of the company. I mean, these two, you're talking X Division titles, you're talking tag belts, you're talking Triple X. These two are a huge part of the company.
Triple X, so that's what it is. I was trying to remember the tag team name,
With Low-Key eventually joins them. But and for those who know, that these two are very, very important to the company as we go on. So this was the first taste of that you got. This was it. This kind of lets you know, like and you wouldn't, they're great, but it's like you can't even imagine how important they become to this day. They show Elix's cage walk. Daniels is highlight. Daniels had a whole run in TNA. And a good point by Hakeem here in the chat. Elix is so forgotten, unfortunately. I heard that he still looks great. He's still in great shape. He was he's still doing it. He's still active and not in wrestling, but how sad is how forgotten he's become. Because he's not a social media guy. In today's day and age, if you're not on social media, you're gone. But They keep them alive, guys, with that cage walk that they show constantly, which I'm glad they keep his name out there at least.
It's one of the most infamous things, and that's one of the things that actually made me a fan of the brand, because it was one of the matches that they featured on that 1 cent pay-per-view.
Yes. Yeah. And that's that match. I can't wait to cover that. Yeah. That is one of the greatest matches I've ever seen. I cannot wait to cover that.
It's down the road, but it's there.
Yeah, we got a couple of years. Yeah. The post-match, the Dupps run into the ring with the board, and they smash them over Jorge Estrada's head while Siaki bails. And the Dupps each take a turn smashing a board over Jorge's head, and they dance, make out with Fluff. It's a whole, very Duppy thing to do.
Siaki, what a scumbag.
Yeah, definitely what a scumbag, for sure. But we go after that to the girls are dancing in the cage. We got the dates and the dates scrolling across the bottom. Like I love that they used to do that. They used to tell you where other NWA shows would be going on. I thought that was pretty cool. And Tio, the other dwarf wrestler, jumps in one of the cages with them, starts dancing. Back to Goldie in the back, Jay. She's interviewing K-Krush, and she asks him why he assaulted Norman Smiley after the match. He's about to threaten her when guess who shows up? Scott Hall attacks K-Krush.
Boom!
Takes him out, and he turns to the camera and says, 2 down, 1 to go. The 2 being K-Krush and Jeff Jarrett. 1 to go being Brian Christopher. So, again, Hall, Jay, what an important part of these first few shows. It's Scott Hall, that name credibility and his fire that he brought to the matches. Again, overlooked for this company's history. He was a huge part of it.
Oh, yeah.
So we go from that to the hardcore midget falls count anywhere match. Jay, I'm going to let you talk about this one.
Oh, man.
Meatball and Puppet. Tell me about it.
They brought the damn buffet to the ring. They did.
They sure did.
This match actually made me hungry watching it, because I was like, oh, pie. Oh, watermelon.
The watermelon looked good.
Yeah, and it was everywhere. It was, and they were talking about that bag of it's a bag of flour. They're like, oh, it's a 2-pound bag of flour. No, that was one of those like big 15 to 20 pound
Costco
bags. Yeah, before there was a Costco, I think. But that was huge, and that got bounced off of one of their heads, Meatball's heads or whatever.
Meatball.
I mean, Meatball really took a beating in this one. Barely Meatball any offense from him. That this poor Meatball. But it was so much fun. I mean, Puppet really kicked ass in this one, and it was.
He did.
This ended up being a lot more entertaining because I was like, all right, we'll see what they do. Because the first one, I believe it was the first episode, was kind of...
First episode, yeah.
Yeah, it was like, it's a couple minutes. This one, though, it was hilarious.
I could have shaved off about 3 to 4 minutes of it, but it definitely was entertaining. It was so wacky.
Oh, yeah.
Flour, tomatoes, cream pies, watermelons, like you said. He... garbage cans, kendo sticks, and he beats him with a Vader bomb, with like a Puppet bomb, which I thought was funny. So Puppet wins that.
Yeah.
He's, I gotta give this to Puppet. It's such a niche thing, but the guy is working so hard in there with the character and the facials.
He gave it his all, man. He is all charisma and all he's just balls to the wall, and I think that's why I like this.
I've seen him live for the midget wrestling touring group that they have. So I've seen him live. He's been out there, and he's still good. He's still entertaining, man. So,
really?
Yeah. We cut back to the girls dancing, and you see Puppet in the background walk by and just kind of go like, like another midget. But then Tio tries to steal the girl's top and runs out, and it was just so wacky. Like shit like that was so fucking wacky. Jasmine St. Clair comes out, skimpy, no bra, very, very attractive to the men in the crowd. The front row, and actually not just the front row, the audience of men was losing their mind. Yeah, it was cold. I think Ed Ferrara was like, it's not even cold in here.
Yeah, it's not that cold in here, and her turkeys were done.
She's out there, skimpy, basically straight from that shower, calls out Francine. Francine comes out with Slick Johnson ringing the bell, straight up ECW style. Get right, they go into it, start stripping some clothes away. Jasmine takes Francine's top. Francine takes Jasmine's bottoms. Francine starts whipping her with the belt. I mean, it's getting hot in there. And who makes his debut, Jay? To make the save for Jasmine, but the blue meanie, but the thin version of the blue meanie.
Yeah, he looked
This is when he lost all the weight. Yeah.
See, and I'm completely oblivious to this. I remember him, with the crop top and ECW and was it the BWO?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I didn't watch the stuff on a regular basis back then, but I've seen enough footage to know who he was back then. So he shows up here, and he looks like a completely different guy. I mean, you could tell who he is because of his hair and his shades. But yeah, I was like, wait a minute, where's his gut?
There was a period where he lost all that weight, and he just out of nowhere, he looked great. And then he started dating Jasmine St. Clair, and I was like, what in the fuck? He went from being this thin guy or fat guy into this thin guy dating a porn star. It's like, what in the world?
Yeah.
He was there, and
there's hope for everyone out there.
DDT the shit out of Francine. Yes, there is.
He did.
DDT
he destroyed
bad.
her.
Carries out Jasmine. And then Francine gets stretchered out. Ed Ferrara is there comforting her, but nicely. Very,
not nasty. Yeah, because
not nasty. But he's out there. But it was.
Oh, I got you. I got you. It's like, no,
yeah. I tell you, you don't know who you can't even fathom the talent that showed up in early TNA. You guys, if you watch along with us, you'll see it. I mean, Blue Meanie. You're gonna see a guy. You're gonna see these guys show up like young CM Punk, my friend Danny Daniels. The Briscoes were on episode 2. 18-year-old Briscoe brothers on episode 2.
Unbelievable.
Truth Martini. The most random people will show. Nate Madsen. I think. Gosh, who else, man? Just so many people to start showing up. Spider Nate Webb, I think, shows up. All these early 2000s wrestlers, who end up going somewhere. What? That guy was there too? Just you won't believe it as you watch. But yeah, keep along with it. We go from that backstage. Goldilocks Jay tries to get a word with Low Key, and he just says, "I do my speaking in the ring," and just walks away. So we get the highlight package. Highlight package for Low Key. We see AJ's finishing highlight package. So just letting you know who's coming up. After the match, AJ, we go from that to AJ and Low Key for the X Division Championship. This was a highly innovative back and forth, awesome X Division match, J-Bone. Styles retains with hitting the Styles Clash. What did you think about this one?
Oh, you knew this one was going to be good because Low Key, and they said this in the match. They said he took out everyone to get to this point.
22 years old too at this point.
Oh, just ridiculous. And so the back and forth for these two, and in some ways, looking back on this and even looking at Low Key now, man, some of the stuff that he was pulling off seemed like he was better than Styles. But then Styles comes back, and nails him with the Styles Clash. But man, this was ridiculous. And then the aftermath was even crazier. You
will not see a match like this on TV today. You won't. I don't care any company, you won't see this level of match on TV. Not even AEW. This was that hard hitting, fast indie style, which I criticize AEW a lot for doing indies on TV without balance sometimes, but this was just this was like beyond something. I mean, again, for context, look at the year when it's 2002. This is happening. Yeah. Now it's commonplace for WWE to adapt indie style, Impact for adapt indie style, AEW, but now it's a TV version of indie style on TV. This was straight up non-stop action. Like, this was insanity.
Oh yeah, they held true to its name, and they just blowing people's minds 15 minutes at a crack for these matches. No one at this time saw anything like this.
And the crowd reacted to everything.
Yeah.
A drop kick. They were like, yeah.
Yeah.
I work for a wrestling company. I would pay the fans if you tell me you'd react like that to everything. I mean, that brings out so much energy in a performer, in a producer, in the referee, the ring. I mean, everybody involved. You get that reaction for you're like, what?
Yeah.
Imagine the wrestlers, But AJ retains here. And great match. After the match, AJ gets stuff to the entranceway, and Jerry comes out, spears him, drags him back to the ring. He's really yelling at him. He's dressing him down. He's going to teach him a lesson.
Spear. Oh, my God. And AJ is he's at the top of the ramp. He's just exhausted because he just went 15 minutes with low key or whatever the time frame was, 10, 15 minutes, whatever. And it was hot. He is huffing. He is puffing. Holds up his title. He's like, yeah. Barely turns to the side, and Jerry Lynn just completely gives him a spear like I've never seen anybody give anyone before.
Nuts.
Ridiculous.
Jerry's too good, man.
Just kills him. I was like, oh my God.
It was nuts.
Poor AJ.
He gets him back into the ring, and Jerry gives him the famous cradle pile driver, man. The Jerry Lynn special, which people pop for. That's a great pile driver he throws. So, a little payback to Jerry Lynn. Now, the next segment here, Jay, I liked this opening. Brian Lawler, this is the main event now. Brian Lawler and Scott Hall is what we're going to have. We're going to main event the show with. Brian Lawler gets on the mic and just starts dressing down the audience, the business, his father, heavily. Now, Jay, you're a father. You're watching this on TV. Your son's a worker, but when he said at one point, this is a shoot, my dad hangs around high schools with a pocket full of candy on a Friday. I was like, you're a father. If your son went on national television and said, my dad's basically been a pedophile or whatever he's trying to imply, what in the world?
Oh, man. I mean, I'd be coming to the show next week live, jumping the rail and whooping his ass.
I was really hoping. I can't remember if this is the time period that Jerry left for a little bit, but he mentioned he left a ticket for his dad, come show up, but he's really running him down. He talks about Scott Hall's alcoholism at one point. Like he's like, no one's safe here, Jay.
He's nailing everyone. Yeah, between the candy line and the Scott Hall. I was like, oh, jeez.
Now Scott's behind him, and the whole crowd. But this went on for a while, right, Jay? Like he's behind him.
He's behind him for like 5 minutes,
and he's like drunk Scott Hall, like he's tearing people apart, and then he's going to the audience, and he's like, "What does this mean? Yeah, woo, yeah, you're a bunch of rednecks." I mean, he's doing all the basic heel taunt the crowd stuff, and they're eating it up. They're eating it all up, Jay. Again, I love that in 2002, even people were like they were in on it. They were like, let's play along. We don't know. We don't want to be. We know what it is, but let's play along. Today, it's like, it's fake. I know it's fake. I just want to see like 18 backflips in a Canadian Destroyer. Then they're like, let's play along. Scott's behind him. Let's have fun. But he waits behind me, finally turns around, and we got a match. So he punches him. We're into it. It's back and forth, Jay. It was really, I thought it was a fun match. Hall wins it with the Razor's Edge, Outsider's Edge, or just the Edge. And K-Krush comes out, unsuccessfully attacks near the end of the match. But after the match, him and Lawler get a control of Scott Hall. And K-Krush starts bringing the belt over, hangs Scott Hall. Bill Behrens, Bob Armstrong, Don Harris all come out. This is wild. Mike TNA is losing his mind at this point, right? Like,
yeah, he's practically losing his voice at the end here. Yeah.
I mean, Mike TNA is so good, Jay. He's so into it. That's what I love. Like he's losing it, you know? It was nuts. It was just, this segment was insanity. He's hanging people. He literally saying, my dad's idea of a Friday night is cruising the high schools with pockets full of candy. I mean, like, this segment's absolute bonkers. And then, Jay, tell me what your thoughts are on this. Just when we thought it was done, they're carting away Scott Hall.
Yeah, it's almost like a replay because, you know, Scott Hall's beaten down and they got to stretcher him out again, and they got the EMTs out there, whatever. And oh, here comes another EMT. Oh no, it's not another EMT. Jarrett, you son of a bitch! And TNA is like almost squeaking, losing his voice. We gotta get out of here, you son of a bitch!
Oh my god. Jarrett dressed as an EMT attacks Scott Hall, and it's like Mike TNA is at the end of his fucking rope.
How did he get back in here?
Oh, but I love it, Jay. I was like, what the fuck? I want to see next week. They sold me. I'm not knocking Josh Matthews. I'm not knocking Don Callis. You know, and any other I mean, like AEW guys, Jim Ross and all those guys, but Jesus, bring this back, because it really gets me into it when you guys are into it. Like, I don't need a straight play-by-play. Oh, fuck it. You know what? That guy's a fucking heel. Act like you're pissed because you work there too. And I don't fucking need this guy. Like, I want a commentator who just loses his mind. And it's like, hey, Saucin, what the fuck is wrong with him? Yeah. Jesus Christ. He's trying to go after Jay's mom. What is wrong? Like, tear into him. Make me feel it too. I love that. Yeah. I love it.
And Don Callis does that a little bit, but not to the degree of this.
Not to that degree. He's just more of a straight man. He's you know, he'll say it, you know, he'll be like, oh, you son of a bitch. Yeah. But he does it in his own way. But man, the Mike TNA way is, as the lead commentator, is like, wow. You've sold me, partner. You know, like, you got me. But we went off the air with that, Jay. What did you think of this one? This was a lot of fun for me.
So yeah, the build-up for next week. Next week we've got the NWA tag titles on the line, and it's not just that the tag team wrestling in this particular brand at this point is good. It's because there's that crazy relationship between AJ and Jerry Lynn. Like, what the hell is going to go on there? Are they going to be able to function together? And then you got Sabu, who just climbed a ladder and got a contract that was hanging above the ring in that crazy ladder match against Malice. He's facing Ken Shamrock for the title next week. I'm sorry, those two matches right there, I'd be spending my $10 on.
It's worth $10. This show, without a doubt, from today's standards, to me, is worth $10. The fact that we're getting the whole thing for $8. These streaming networks trip me out, man. You know, $8 for this catalog. WWE's is like $10. I just got the employee access for the AAW one, which includes a bunch of other indies, and it's $10. I'm like, how the hell do we charge this little for this stuff? You know, but It's really neat. But thanks to the preview of next week. That's great, Jay. I'm glad you wrote that down because I didn't have that.
Yeah.
Were there any other notes you wanted to throw in about this one?
Oh, just that like the in between segments, they were really short on this one, but they were so nasty that it just made you cringe going into the next one. there were I mean, there was one thing that kind of, I guess I'll call it constructive criticism, is there were so many attacks going on. Like, I wrote down like there was a beat down at the end of the Sabu match. There was so like the attack at the end of the K-Krush Norman Smiley match. There was another one at the end of the tag match with the Dups attacking Siaki and Estrada. So there were, and then AJ Styles was attacked by Jerry Lynn. And then at the end of the main event, Scott Hall attacked by K-Krush and Jarrett. So there was a lot of that, almost to the point where it was like, okay, come on. You know, they could have like cut out maybe half of those and still been just as good.
You're right. I did not even think about it. There's so much happening there.
and so that kind of made it feel like I'm gonna do, like, as we're doing this, you'll see me compare this to like the days of WCW. You'll have that feel. It's fresh, but you'll still get that old school WCW feel. Like, oh man, they shouldn't have done so much of that. But other than
less is more.
Yeah, exactly. But this episode was just bad shit nuts, dude. I loved it, especially with the debut of Sabu and seeing how crazy good he was back then. The X Division was nuts. Hell, I even loved Puppet beating Meatball with a freaking watermelon. It's just stupid, cuckoo nuts.
Puppet beat his meat and then beat his friend Meatball. Gosh, what a nutty show though, man. Action packed. I like the Crash style. I was a big fan. Like I've told I'm a big Russo fan. I love the Crash style where it's just a lot going on. I was always a big fan of that. And I know what you're saying too. I grew up on the old stuff too, but I love that like everybody's got something going on. And I agree that a beatdown can't happen at every segment. You gotta get creative and do other shit too. Like, you know, maybe 3 can be a beatdown, 3 could be something else.
Yeah.
But I do like that everyone's got something. I'm a big fan of that. I always go back to WCW days when Russo and Ferraro were booking, and one of their goals was that all these guys under contract who were never getting used, they found something to put them in. Even if it didn't make any sense, like they just put them in something just so the guys got paid or had TV time or something. So like involvement, something. All these guys are there. So I liked that. I love when there's just a lot happening, but yeah, it's got to be done right. I agree with you. So very cool though, man. Some comments in the chat about Mike TNA looking to come back to commentary if the price is right. I love it. It's like Mike TNA's in that where Shivani was up until like 2 years ago, where he thinks nobody wanted him back. And it's like, here you are, you have a huge fan base, people who would love for you to come back. So maybe he does live in Vegas. Like Miller Harris is saying, he lives in Vegas. I know he was very upset, did not want to do Slammiversary a couple years ago with Don West, which I was surprised about. I hope he does do something. I would love for Mike TNA to make a call again. Just it would really, really be special to have Mike TNA make a call again for TNA Impact. So it would be awesome. I'd love it. So, but yeah, Jay, a great episode. Episode 6 next week. You already previewed. I'm looking forward to it. The Sabu Ken Shamrock match. I recall a chant that goes on during that match is people going, "Sad fucking boo, sad fucking boo, sad fucking boo." Like, it's only 4 letters, guys, but you found a way to throw a profanity in there too. But
just the same as ECW. Yeah, just crazy.
Yeah. But Jay, yeah, that was it, man. I enjoyed it. Go ahead and read that comment.
This is J-Bone. When was the last time you seen a puppet smash a meatball in public, if you will?
If you will. If you will. And it's one of those lines you never thought you'd say it when you woke up this morning. Good stuff though, man. Jay, good shit. Guys, we're getting ready for episode 6 next week. Jay and I will watch that. Let's so hope you're enjoying it. We hope you're liking these. Please follow along. I know some of you guys just aren't watching, maybe have seen them in the past, but guys, I encourage you, watch these again. They're a lot of fun. And the first time we're like Jay, first time we're like Eric DeHoff, who's one of our buddies here. He's loving it. I mean, this is great shit. This is great shit. And just to answer another question that just came into the chat, Critical Sting, doesn't a long-haired Don Callis make a few appearances in the asylum? He sure does. That's another full circle thing. Don Callis, Cyrus makes an appearance. It's great.
He's again. Didn't he create one of the first like big X Division matches? I can't remember which one. Like well,
there's always a debate who created the Ultimate X. Was it him or Disco Inferno?
The Ultimate X.
So it's always it's the running debate of who created it. But guys, I'm telling you, you will be shocked at the people who show up year one. Eric Watts becomes a player in early TNA. You know, a guy who was laughed out of WCW, you know, and some WWF. People were like, oh, you're just Bill Watts' kid, and you're nobody. You suck. Eric Watts is awesome in TNA. Awesome.
See, now I've heard of the name, but I have no clue, you know, what content, you know, there is. I'd have to look it up, but yeah.
But, you know, Cowboy Bill Watts from Mid-South, you know, that's his son. Okay. And who was pushed as the son of the promoter, got shit on for that, wasn't the greatest worker. WCW, but you're just son of the, you know, Bill Watts working there. Wasn't as great. And they're like, you're just pushed because of your dad. But, he, you know, sure as shit, he was a football star in college. And he brings a huge sports connection to TNA. You'll see it. It's great. Actually, I just saw a picture of Eric Watts, Jay, with Scott Hall and DDP at Christmas. So, like, these guys are all still buddies and still around, man.
Nice.
It's really cool. But let's go ahead and start wrapping it up, guys. Please start watching. Get your Impact Plus for $8 a month. Start watching with us because these are a lot of fun. And we do other shit on there, too. We do the weekly Impact Wrestling reviews on the Impact Lounge. So don't forget to, you know, in case you're not watching live, the replays are up on Impact Plus, as well as the specials, Twitch and Plus specials we do. Pay your $8 and have something to work with us on. But Jay, get your plugs in here, sir.
You can find me on the old Twitter box at JBone5150. That's JAYBONE 5150. You can also find me on that other little podcast called Smash This Podcast. And I'm going to start bringing back some content this week on a regular basis. I took a few weeks off from the holidays, but we just did a Rambling About Wrestling podcast, little mini reunion, doing the best of the decade over on my channel. That special was a lot of fun to do with those guys. We went about 2.5 hours and talked about all sorts of crazy shit. You can also find Smash This Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Very nice. Guys, you can find me at Vanilla Joke or Hemi Music, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or the show itself you can find at We Talk Impact on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and just type in We Talk Impact, and the Total Nonstop Impact channel and social medias all come up. Do a search for that, rate, review, subscribe. Look on all major platforms, guys. If you search on all major podcast platforms, we're available on all of them. Apple, iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, YouTube, and a ton more I've never even heard of. Just type in Total Nonstop Impact, and the podcast comes right up. Rate, review, subscribe. Tell a friend, tell an enemy. Go ahead and go tell Sonny Siaki that we're here talking about him. You know Sonny Siaki, go tell him we're talking about him. Guys, but definitely connect with us on the social media. Let us know how you're liking the throwback episodes. More and more, we're going to start tagging some of the old guys. I tagged Jim Mitchell, let him know about something. Give us the old retweet, so I appreciate Jim Mitchell giving us a little plug on the old stuff. But if you aren't watching with us, guys, live or weekly, I encourage you to do so. So these reviews are a lot more fun. Or if we're encouraging you to watch them, I know Jay's very grateful.
Oh hell yeah, yeah! I love these episodes. I'm very like I've been wanting for a long time to do something old school. Like I said, never did it with the WWE Network, and I'm doing it now with the Impact Plus app, and couldn't be happier. These are a blast. So I am definitely getting my money's worth doing these once a week, along with all the other new content coming, like this weekend coming up. A lot of content's going to be coming, between Twitch, the app, and Hard to Kill. So yeah,
a lot going on, guys. I'll be there in Texas for Hard to Kill weekend. We're gonna do our weekly Impact review on Thursday. Don't forget that, guys, on the Impact Lounge. So make sure you're subscribed on both. Hit the bell, get the notification. This is the go home episode for Hard to Kill. Now, don't forget, we're gonna review it Thursday, and then I leave Friday. I'm not gonna be at the Bash of the Brewery show, Jay, on Friday in San Antonio, but I'll be at the Arlington Brawl and Hard to Kill. And then on Thursday, I'll confirm the meetup on Sunday before the pay-per-view. So, guys, definitely, if you're in Texas, let me know. But, Jay, I think that's going to do it for us on this week's episode of TNI Throwback. We will be back with episode number 6, NWA-TNA number 6 next week. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Impact Plus, it's there. Let them know. Let Impact Wrestling know if you like what we're doing. Let them hear it. Tell them, tag Impact Plus, tag Impact Wrestling, tag Josh Matthews, tag Don Callis, Scott Demore, Ed Nordholm. Let them all know you like the weekly, you like the throwback. This is the year, Jay. I'm telling you every week until it happens. This is the damn year. This is the year. There you go. See, Eli Drake in it.
We're gonna
do.
They're gonna invite us to the WrestleCon show, and we'll be doing the pre-show.
Hey, I like the way you think. Thinking big, J-Bone. I like it. I love it. Let's do it. From your mouth to Mike Tenay's ears. Let's make it happen. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Thursday, don't forget, Impact Lounge, weekly review show. New episode tomorrow night, Tuesday night, Impact Wrestling. Go home for Hard to Kill. Watch it. Join us for the review in a couple days. We will talk to you then. Thank you very much for joining us. Talk to you later. Jay, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye to the people. See you, folks.
See you, folks.